welcome to yet another episode of the Youth Dialogue. I am your host, Jenna Basonko. It's been a month break on Youth Dialogue. We've been repeating programs because I was away attending the COP26 in Glasgow, UK, and it was a very good experience. I promise that as we go by, I'll bring in environmental activists right here, and we'll get to discuss the Glasgow Climate Pact. But first off, it is important that we put our priorities first. The December 4th elections is around the corner, and it is important that young people come here and we get to discuss issues that has to do with young people and elections, peaceful elections in general, and just generally the participation of young people. It's an election cycle, and eventually the parliamentary elections as well will come, and we expect that there will be a lot of young people who will be vying for different constituencies. We are looking forward to that. So I'm joined by Fatou Jawo, always here to talk about youth in politics, you know, and all of that. Thank you so much for joining us, youth activist as well as legal practitioner.
Thank you, Jenna. It's always a pleasure to be on this platform. So, because youth dialogue is something that is ours, because as young people, it is our platform. So thank you very much, and then look forward to the discussion.
Yes, so, and for the first time, Honorable Omar Nyang, Deputy Clerk of the National Youth Parliament. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jenna. As Fadjao said, it's a very important platform that discussed issues regarding young people. And I'm very happy to be here for the first time. I'm a keen follower of this program.
That's
Absolutely.
good to know.
Yeah.
Talking about keenly following Youth Dialogue, whilst I was away and we had all these episodes repeating, it is really, really good to know that people still watch Youth Dialogue. At Wednesday, 9 o'clock, people had to sit and watch episodes that are repeated. But while I was there and watching it, it looked so fresh, the content looked so good. So thank you to all of you guys who were there consistently waiting for us to come back and bring you fresh episodes. And here we are today about to discuss young people and elections. This is not a new topic to you. Every year, you know, when anything that has to do with just young people participating in electoral processes and all of that, we get to come here and get to discuss. So far, how do you see the process of, you know, the voter registration? Eventually, we have 6 candidates, and now 2 candidates, they are not yet confirmed because the IEC was taken to court, and obviously they're not added to the list yet, as I am told. So how do you just see the entire process as a young person, you know, taking a layback seat out there, just doing your job and looking at the entire electoral process so far ahead of the December 4th elections?
Yeah, thank you so much, Jenna. I believe elections is everybody's business, but young people has a greater stake in elections, considering our constituency as young people. So my opinion about the entire process, from the voter registration to the nominations to the campaigns, so far so good. I believe the process has been very tense, and it has been rigorous. Like, people were participating, because for the first time we see a lot of candidates, up to 20-something nominees who were presented to the IEC. But you have 6 candidates that qualified for the race, and that is something that we really have to commend, because at least we see competition as opposed to previously how elections used to be held. So the voter registration too, I was observing part of civil society, and most of the reports indicate that it was good, considering that right now we have a new voter registration database, like a general voter registration, and it was really a tedious exercise. But so far, generally, I believe it was really a good exercise. And you can see why I said it was a good exercise. After, for the first time, they were revising courts. If you have any issues with the voter registration process, you have an opportunity to present it to the courts, and then have a lot of these declarations or decisions.
The fact that this time, after the voter registration, they were able to like come out and just put up the statistics clearly.
Exactly.
You know, we know the amount of young people who registered, you know, and the figure is huge. You know, previously we knew women, men, but not specifically bringing it down to just the number of young people who have registered. So what does that mean to you as a young person, seeing that there's a high percentage of young people who decided to register to vote?
Yeah, it just shows that young people are now knowing the value and the importance of taking part in decision making. Elections is one way, and it's, to me, is the most important way that you can decide for your country, because it is through elections that you would decide who will lead you, and then that person is going to be shaping your future, and then how you're going to live in this country. So it's through voting that you would held public positions, like going to the National Assembly, president, and even local government elections.
Sure.
So if we are to just talk and then as young people sit and complain, but when it comes to deciding for our future, we hold the backseat. Really, it is unfortunate. But having young people coming out and registering, it is showing that our work, it's yielding dividend, that young people are listening and they really understand their importance in the election cycle. And I believe it will make a lot of difference, that you will see a lot of young people participating, not only as voters, but as contestants.
So moving on, I know currently the National Youth Parliament is touring the country to sensitize people in relation to the entire voting process, this entire electoral process, because it doesn't really stop at the December 4th election. You know, it's a cycle, it goes on. So while you talk to people across the country at this point in time, what is their perception in relation to the December 4th election? What do they think right now?
Thank you very much. As my co said, elections should be everyone's business and should not only be limited within an election cycle. This should be a continuous process to ensure that people are involved, especially young people. As the National Youth Parliament, we are embarking on a nationwide tour. Not only a community sensitization, but down to the radio programs, social media event, to ensure that the young people and women and people living with disabled are involved. Because history tells us that these are sections from the community, from the society that are marginalized. Young people were not taking part in elections, and as Farjao said, and these are things that we need to clean, we need to clear as National Youth Parliament, to ensure, as we want to be the representative of young people, we want to be the voice of young people, we want to ensure that young people are involved in the decision-making process.
So right now, you're on the ground, your team is on the ground, they're talking to the women, the differently abled, the young people. What is their perception? You know, what are they saying? Are they saying, we don't know who to vote for yet? Are they saying, I'm lazy to go and vote on December 4th, it's not worth it? What do they think at this point in time?
Yeah, absolutely. That's very clear, especially regards to the young people. They feel like, they are not being involved. They are not being part of the decision. So it's no need for them to go out and vote.
Despite registering?
Despite registering.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and again, they also don't want to take part because they feel like, people that are there are not representing their interest. Are not also taking their interest into consideration. So that's why they want to feel like they don't want to vote. Women that are in the guardians and people living with disabled are not also involved. But we want to clear this. We want to make sure, let them understand this concept that no matter who you are, you have a right to partake in the decision-making process of your country. And the best way to partake in the decision-making process of your country is through, one of the areas is through voting. So it's like, this is what we want to clear. And the perception was huge, but our team is definitely doing a very good job to ensure that this misconception and these misinformations are clear.
So what tools, you know, what process are you actually using as we speak? Are you actually telling them to go and read manifestos? What are you using? Because, you know, just telling somebody to go and vote is one thing, but what are you using to convince them? Are you telling them to go and read manifestos of different political parties to make a decision? Or what are you using to make sure that they're convinced? You just mentioned that the justification is there that this particular exercise that you're doing has already yielded dividend.
Yeah, one of the issues that we are doing, or strategies that we are playing, is to meet them in their areas, using flyers and using posters, and talk to individual face-to-face, person-to-person conversation, and discuss with them to turn out in their large numbers and vote. This particular exercise is targeting young people to go out and vote, to ensure that at least and let them also make an informed decision.
Okay.
Not only to vote, but let them make informed decision to ensure anyone that they are voting for should be there for the interest of the people.
Good. So talking about informed choices, Fatou Jawa, let's say you're about to, you're going to vote on December 4th. I don't want to know who you're voting for, and I know she's not going to tell me.
Yeah.
But what I'm asking for right now is, what should an individual look out for? What should young people look out for in the individual that they are voting for? Just a disclaimer. We don't know who we're voting for. We are not saying the current president should be voted out or somebody else should be voted in. We do not know. But whoever should be voted in, fine. There are things that we want to see. Whoever it is, I think it's important that we just make that clear.
Yeah, that is true. And I wanted to even say in addition to that, like as an activist, we are expected to be neutral. And that neutrality goes a long way in people's perception of who you are or the message you give out. So usually as activists, we are told, you don't even have to tell citizens vote for change or vote against dictatorship or vote against this. We don't do that. What we do is make sure you vote for your choice. But when voting for your choice, look at the person that has the interest of the country at heart. Because if anybody has the interest of the country at heart, obviously it's representing you. And vote for somebody that, whom you know, if you vote for, your future is guaranteed. Let's say for young people, our problem is unemployment, high crime rates and things like that. So if you are voting for anyone, as young people, what you prioritize is who is capable of bringing me employment opportunities? Who is capable of bringing me quality and standard education? Who is capable of bringing me proper electricity? These are our problems. Look at your problem. Look at their manifestos. If you cannot read, but if they go on campaigns, you can attend the campaigns. All politicians or candidates, you don't have to be in somebody's party. Or excuse me, you don't have to be supporting a candidate for you to go there. Sometimes it is very important for us to be attending some of these campaigns so that you listen and then compare, so that at the end of the day you know who you're voting for. If you cannot go there, their campaigns are aired on the TV. So let us vote for people that will represent us. That is more important. Let us not vote because my dad is voting for this person, I am born in this party, everybody in the issue of tribalism. These are issues that we cannot ignore. A lot of people would even associate because they on tribal lines. Some will associate on professional lines. Some will associate on a lot of issues or regional demography. But what is important is we have a country to build and we have a nation in common. So all these things are not important. What is important is how to move this country forward from where it came from to where it is. And then because dynamics change is something that is the only consistent thing. So obviously we must change in the way that we deal with issues, and this had to come during elections. And then it doesn't matter whether you're re-electing somebody or you're voting out somebody, but just vote for somebody that will represent your interests. That is the most important thing. When you talked
about tribalism, you're on tour. You talked about the tour that you're up to still. So I just want to know if that is also a concern that you're raising to people, because the issue of tribalism is a very, very big problem. I've had my personal experiences even, as an individual. Sometimes you say certain things, they're like, oh, you are this is what, this is the party you're supposed to vote for, and generally there's no specific party that is really associated to any, because it's a mixture of things. But at the end of the day, it's really affecting the entire process.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. As National Youth Parliament, it's not only to make an informed decision, but the reason why our team is on the ground, is on the provinces, touring the whole country, is to make sure that we advocate and sensitize people about change, a very positive change, positive in attitude, to ensure there is peaceful election among young people, to ensure that these tribal sentiments that are going around, people will clear this perception and understand the fact that Gambia is ours. And we're the only one who can make this change. As we already understand that if you look at the number of registered voters in this country are young people, the percentage. So as young people, we should not be involved in any tribal sentiments, in anything that will hinder the progress and development of this country. So these are also part of the messages that we are sending, both online and both in the community side, to ensure that we vote for what we want to achieve, a positive change for that matter, positive change in our own attitudes.
Yeah, and the change doesn't mean changing the person.
Changing doesn't mean or changing a go whatever.
You
decide.
You decide that.
You decide.
You know, I think it is important, Fatu, that we keep on stressing this as we go by.
Yeah.
Because elections, you know, it's a very sensitive time, and you know, media, you know, it's quite difficult sometimes to actually analyze these things.
Absolutely.
So I think as we go by, making these things clear is very important, just to show, like you mentioned, ñun faruñ fen.
Exactly.
You know, we're just there. You know, we're just making sure we help you make that informed choice that you want to make after going through the manifestos, after doing what you want to do and doing your checks to just see who you're going to give vote to.
Yeah, I think that's very important. It's like our change of mentality has to be very important here, because to make sure that at least whatever we are involving ourselves into does not hinder the progress of this country.
Sure.
You understand? So sometimes we find it very difficult to see how toxic the environment can be. You see people bullying each other here based on tribe, based on religion. This is what the National Youth Parliament want to clear out.
That's good.
Both in the national level and both in the grassroots level, to ensure that whatever we are doing, let's factor the interest of this country and make sure that young people are involved in election in a very, very positive way. Women are also involved, because the involvement of women here is very key in this project that we're implementing. Because women are most of the time very vulnerable, and they are not being involved. So we want to ensure that women go out in their numbers and vote. That's why we are not only meeting them in their compound, even at their gardens. We ensure that we meet them at their gardens. We ensure we meet them even at the local markets, Lumos. At Farafenye, we were there at the Lumo to ensure that at least each and everyone is included, all inclusive in this, to ensure that we all involved in the process together, go turn out in our large numbers and vote.
Okay, and Fatu, I think currently our judiciary is quite independent, you know, judging from what is happening, you know, considering the fact that CA was able to take IEC to court. We see GMC as well was able to do the same. You know, as young people, you know, what does it mean to have like an independent judiciary for the future of young people? What does that mean?
Yeah, thank you so much. I will respond with regards to the independence of the judiciary, especially as a member of, let's say, the legal fraternity. Yeah, it is really important that in any legal system you have the independence of the judiciary, because if people are offended or they feel their rights are violated or they want to seek redress, it is through the courts.
Sure.
So if the courts are independent, obviously you don't have to sit and say, even if I go to court, I wouldn't get what I want. So it's very important for any developing country, and if you want to progress, you need to empower your judiciary. And this is one thing that we have seen really. So far, so good. The judiciary are doing their work without any interference and anything. So you might have your reservations, that is your right. But the bottom line is they are.
But at least, I mean, it is okay to acknowledge if progress is there.
It is,
you know,
it is progressive, because it's for the first time we are seeing things like this. So at least it's a one step in the direction of for developing our jurisprudence. Yeah, so whether you agree with the decision or not, that is at your own level. And you know, parties are entitled to form opinions about judicial decisions, and you have the right procedures to follow whatever that you are awarded or it's against you. But what is important is at least we have the trust in the judiciary. And I think this is very important.
Yeah, it is. So moving on, December 4th election is here. You know, I always talk about the fact that sometimes we do not do the right things at the right time. The December 4th election is here already. We've done enough of the talking in relation to the presidential elections for the past months. So now I feel like it's time for us to start talking about the parliament, our wards. You know, the conversation has to start now if we want to attract young people to come and vie for these positions, to come in relation to competence, based on competence, obviously. You know, let's talk about the role of the parliament and the respective wards. I want to understand what you guys think about the roles of these individuals, because still it is not clear. It is not clear to the women and youth out there in relation to what the parliament can do or cannot do. You know, I can remember when I went to Nyamina and had conversations with women about what parliamentarians can do. They told me things that I knew these parliamentarians cannot do. It's not under their jurisdiction, you know. So just take us through at your own level.
Yeah, you know, the National Assembly is a very important arm of government. If not it's the most important, if you ask me, because these are our representatives. We cannot all go in parliament and then start representing each other or our voices, but the people that we elected and entrusted them with our voices to go and do things in accordance to what we want or our interests. I believe it's the most powerful arm of government because it represents the constituency of the citizens. So the sovereignty of the country at one hand, it's on the parliament because their duties is to make laws. So we are standing here today and talking about the judiciary. All the laws that establish the and empower the judiciary to be independent, the laws that establish the executive and then said the president must do this and must not do this, the laws that even are governing us to say, Jenaba, you cannot do this or you cannot go there. It's made in parliament. So their role is so critical that because the legal framework is the foundation of all these other things. Without law and order, you cannot talk about development. So, and even the development of this country, it's based on policies and then it's based on regulations. Look at the budget. It's the role of parliament to approve the budget, to look at the appropriations after the finance minister has submitted it, and then defend it. You have to justify in front of parliament, why do you allocate 10 million to the executive? Why do you allocate 1 billion to the judiciary? These are things, it's an accountability mechanism on the side of the executive. They serve as a watchdog. So in a nutshell, they make laws, they review budgets, they even participate in the appointment of some of our public officials.
You know, why the need to have more young people? If we have more young people, what can that change? Because they gonna finish suñ fa démé duñ fa def dara dañoo caaxaan foofu. Dañ xalé lañ duñ mëna make decisions yu reuy yoyu.
Jenaba, there is one thing, there is a perception. Xam nga ñun fii nii dëkk bi den foog ne soo nekkee xale rek yow mënuloo jiite something like that, but that perception is wrong. You have young people ñu bëri ñoo xam ne ñu ngi they are doing very well in the public sector. So demee si lopitaan yi nurse yu bëri xale lañ ñun suñ maas yi fii nii lawyer yi am na xale ba pare other professions in the media and you people, all of us are doing our quota and we are doing it very good. So what is wrong with xale yi ñu war a dem si parliament bi ñu ne gars yi duñ def dara o it's just man si man ragal la rek boo xam ne teguñ ko fen because dama feel like ne ñun ndaw ñi ñoo nekk tey ak ëllëg it's not like ñun ñoo nekk ëllëg sax because tey ndaw ñi suñ amee dara dëkk bi dafa dem si kanam waaye ñun suñ amul dara mënuñoo def dara dëkk bi du dem because am na ñoo xam ne ñu ngee mag foog ñu retire te xale yu ndaw yi tamit ñooñu mënaagu ñoo def dara so foog ñu indi xale yi ñu diital leen pour ñu mun a xam lan moo nekk si problème bi because ndaw yi dañ am stamina ñun stamina buñ am yaa ngi nekk xale sa mind bi is fresh and you are educated then to be honest we don't have to fool ourselves so jàngut doo mun a yóbbu dëkka and then need nañ ñu jàng si National Assembly.
So what I want to understand, am nañ National Youth Parliament already. I just want to understand the relationship between the two because at some point National Youth Parliament war nañoo mën a groom ñoo xam ne dafa mel ni xëj na after mën nañ leen a import bi meaning voted but import in a way ne defaru nañ si Youth Parliament bi ba baax xaw ma nag xam nga lu maa wax de defaru nañ foofu ba correct bu boobaa buñ toogee fële rek dëkk bi dem so loolu I don't know ndax loolu mun na moo nekk.
This is a very timely question very timely. We are in that project, you are in that process
currently.
Right now. Currently we are in the process. Hopefully, after the election, we will start the whole process and completed it.
Looking forward.
We want to bring the National Youth Parliament like the image of the National Assembly. Yes, to have representatives in every district and have our sittings at the National Assembly complex. So the process is at the final stage to ensure young people will come to there and be prepared young people to prepare them in the future so that if they want to take part in the decision-making process at the National Assembly, the understanding, the legal work, and the know-how will already be there for them to assume the responsibility. So the process is already on. As she said, It's definitely very, very wrong perception. And this is what we want to clear, to say that young people are not ready for the role of the National Assembly members. That's not the case here. We are absolutely very ready. So that's why at the National Youth Parliament, we want to ensure at the end of this project, after having our regional sittings, we will have a recommendation. We will discuss issues affecting young people in their local areas at the grassroots. Like, for example, you will have a National Youth Parliament member as far as URR district, one as far as Kiang, will come together in every region. They will have their representative, and they will be at the National Assembly and discuss issues affecting young people.
Okay.
So this
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, this will equip them with the understanding of the National Assembly procedures and things related to that. So thereby, if by 2-3 years, they will already be very well prepared to take to assume the responsibility.
And also the communities will know them.
Exactly.
Communities, you know, things
so
like that.
As of now, as we are in the provinces, our target is not only within this election.
Okay, it goes
but
beyond.
we want to make sure people are informed about civic education. It's very important. And we feel like it's lacking within young people and women, especially people living with disabilities. We feel like they have been marginalized, and we want to involve them. Involving them is to talk to them, have this conversation with them, hear from them, as they will also, you know, express their views and understanding. As we speak right now, we meet almost 290 communities. So we are at CRR right now. So we want to cover the whole country.
Amazing.
To ensure people are involved.
Are informed. Looking forward to that. So I'm afraid we might have to wrap this conversation up soon. But December 4th, what are you taking with you while you're going to vote? What do you need?
Oh, yeah.
You also them vote.
I just have to wear my clothes that don't represent the color of any candidate or political party. No symbols of any candidate or anything with my voter's card. That's what I'm going to use.
That's all you need.
If you get there, you line up and then wait for your turn. Go inside, put it inside the hole, not on top of it. Like
put it inside. Invalid vote.
Yes, like the Jolas vote.
Yeah.
That is all you need.
That's all you need to do. All you need to do. Do you want to add anything in relation to regulations and things that need to be put in place on the day for an individual?
As he said, we need to do away with party symbols during election day. And we also need to do away with conflicts. Campaign during election day. This is not allowed as the regulation stated. And of course, what are my other messages to make sure that the young people are out there to vote in their massive numbers. People with disabilities should also be given chance to approach of course, priorities to vote. They should not be allowed to be on the queue for so long. They should also be given priority to vote. Women should also be encouraged to go out and vote. So especially this project these are our target areas. We also want to use the medium to make sure that they are all outside and vote.
And on time.
But
I heard if you're on the queue till 5 o'clock, it's 5 o'clock, voting stops at 5 o'clock, but if you're on the queue till then you'll be allowed to vote.
Yes. So if you're on the queue and then it's 5 p.m., you are allowed because you're already queuing. So there is nobody that should stop you from voting.
Final words as we leave?
Well, thank you so much, Jenaba. I must acknowledge your contributions towards the ensuring that young people are represented. You are the voice of young people on the media, and we have to give credit to you. So just out there for my fellow young people and my countrymen and women, what I want to say is that the Gambia is all we have. No matter how tense or how difficult things might be or how much overwhelmed you are, whatever you do, make sure you do it in a peaceful way. If we give peace a chance, we would have the chance to develop. But if we are violent in whatever we are doing during the election cycle, we are not doing anything but a recipe for violence, and we have seen what post-electoral violence has caused a lot of our neighboring countries or even other countries in the globe. So we don't want to look at 2016, that impasse was something else, people flying. But we don't have anything other than our peace. So the Gambia is the smiling cause, and I believe the smile has to continue. Let us do peaceful elections, and then we enjoy the peace that we have.
Yes, and talking about peaceful elections, our next discussion right after this has to do with peaceful peaceful elections with Amnesty International. So yeah, I think it's important that a conversation starts and we continue from there.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Geneva, for having me here. And my message will go to the young people. Let us be agents of peace, and let us be agents of change, a positive change in our attitude. And also a big thank you to our vanguards in the provinces, yeah, the National Youth Parliament. They're absolutely doing a very great job to ensure that people are outside there to vote under the leadership of Omar Champion Cham. Absolutely, they are doing very well, and we also want to ensure that young people, women turn out in their large numbers and vote. And of course, thank you to the British High Commissioner who supported this project that we are implementing.
Okay, and thank you to QTV Youth Dialogue as well. Okay, we're taking the credit.
The credit goes to you. It goes to you. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
Anyway, thank you to all the partners who are supporting young people to actually sensitize people in relation to voting and all of that. Like I said, we have to be doing the things at the right time. We have to start talking about the parliamentary election. You know, the local government is important. We start it now.
It should be a continuous process.
It has to be. But man, we just wait till, you know, it's closed and we just start an advocacy at that time.
Late. That is
You know, the sustainability. Where
one
is
of
it?
my recommendations in the event that I attended was to have a civic education as a continuous process.
It has to be
even as a curriculum in our
as a continuous process.
It needs to be stressed.
It should not only be limited during election day, election time. After election, we forget about it. No, our people should be informed.
On a daily basis.
But we are not too young to run. So let the youth remember that.
Yes, you're not too young to run. So not too young to run. So you know, let it just be based on competence for me.
That's all.
Yeah, that's all. Let it just be based on competence. Anyway, thank you so much, Fatu and Omar, Honorable Omar Nyang, for joining us on this program. So we will take a short break. This particular march pass by Amnesty International, we engage young people in relation to peaceful elections and just calling on their fellow young people to come out on December 4th to vote. So let's take a look at that, and when we come back, the conversation continues. Do stay tuned.
Actually, we have been inspired by everyone that is here today based on the same ideology that we have, that since we are in a electional period and we know what election can do and how election can hamper each individual, especially we the youth are most of the time the most vulnerable ones. So we believe it's important for us to organize this important march, starting from alias Franco, marching with students, civilians, youths, and everyone to make sure that, you know, they are part of this, what we call Make Peace Win.
We're here to advocate for peace because we know that this country came into being before these political parties were formed. And now these political parties are the same parties that are coming vying for positions in the eyes of Gambians. And now it is in the hands of the Gambians to choose who is for what and who they believe will run this country peacefully.
Yeah, our advice to the youth there is that we are the one that is the backbone of this nation. If anything bad happens to this nation, we are all affected. So therefore we are calling upon all youths to make sure that let them be politically tolerant. if we have political tolerance, we allow each individual to express his or her own ideology, because all of us cannot support the same party. We have different views, but what is important to be tolerant, to allow your fellows to share his or her opinion. Through that, then we can allow peace to reign in this beautiful country of ours, the Gambia. So it's very important for all of us to stand by and to make peace win, because this is our moment for us to do our right through the ballot box. So therefore, I'm urging every youth to put their vote in the ballot, and that is the only way to express who you are, but not to express it through anger or any sort of thing that might disrupt the peace and integrity of this beautiful nation, the Gambia.
Election will come and go, and the Gambia will remain. We go and cast our votes, because our votes will count, and our votes will have an effect in the nation. So we vote wisely. Let us not vote due to racism, favoritism, or nepotism, and about these backgrounds, I am Mandinka, all those stuffs. We vote according to the agendas that are for the benefit of the Gambia and the nation at large.
For the young people, the youths that may be in my shoe right now, my simple advice is don't allow politicians to use you. Don't tribalize politics, because this politics is a politics that will come and go. It's just a matter of months, and we vote in somebody. And after voting in that person, we, the same Gambia, will stay and we work as a nation. So don't cause any chaos in this country for the sake of politics. Let's unite as Gambians and work together in achieving our goal. Politicians are just here to work for us. Having them in office, it's a matter of us giving them a chance. Giving them that chance, they still are obliged to answer to us.
We, the youths, have to take lead in every aspect of our development. So being part of the National Assembly members is very important as a youth. So I'm urging all youths to take that as an opportunity, so that we can try to solve things that we believe that the elders are not seeing, because we, the youths, have the same vision, and we have the same passion to make sure that we move this country forward. So I'm urging every youth, this National Assembly election that is coming after the nation election is very important for all of us to involve, and we be the right leaders in our own areas and our own community to move forward our development.
Because some of us, the youths, are already of age to contest, to vie for parliamentary positions. And if you are good and you think you have the experience, you can serve this nation wholeheartedly. You can vie for any position in your constituency. As far as you are with the age of 21, because that's what the Constitution says. If you have 21 years, you can contest for any position that you wish in your own constituency. Not only that, even the councillors, that is the ward councillor elections that will be coming.
Welcome back, viewers, from that break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV Youth Dialogue. That was young people at the Amnesty International KM Group Peaceful March Past. They're talking about their expectations in relation to the elections. And, I mean, all of them echo the same thing, which has to do with peace. So thank you so much for joining us, Alaji Saitba from the Amnesty International KM Group. And make peace, right? That's the theme for this March Past.
Yeah,
you know, so take us through how this particular March Past came about, and if what you wish to achieve was achieved.
Yeah, basically, the March about come about like because we are heading to election, and we all know that this election is the most toxic election ever in the history of the Gambia.
It's the most toxic?
It's the most mean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, most toxic election.
Okay,
so this have make us to come together as youth of being in this particular organization that is responsible of protecting fundamental human rights. And we know human rights can only exist when there is peace.
Sure.
So we come together and then we convert students and then young people that want to see a peaceful election in this particular upcoming election. And I believe we have achieved something because young people are chanting for peace.
Yeah.
And I believe we will go for this election in peaceful, and then people will contest. They will do their fundamental human right, that is their right to vote, peacefully and come back home peacefully.
So how do you think a March Past can change the narrative? Because I've seen a lot of March Past being organized by different organizations. So what makes your March Past different?
Yeah, what makes it different is because this March Past is meant to create awareness to the people. As we are marching through the streets, you see people, we sending a message to them. Seeing young people in their uniforms and some, in fact, without their uniform, they are sending a message to these people, to the masses, to enlighten them about the importance of peace. Because peace, in fact, is our concern. We, the youth, is our concern. So we share this information to our elders too, and then those that are coming to the march past, we give them flyers that they are going to take along to their homes, and then that there is a message on that particular flyer, which will at least help us to reach to the homes also. It's not only through the streets, but also to the home. Yeah, and then we also invite some media houses that are coming to cover, and I believe those that are watching also will see what we are about to send in the
Yeah,
entire
because
Gambia.
normally, you know, issues as such, march past and all of this, we get to see this on a daily basis. It's repeated, you know, all the time. So that's why I just wanted to figure what really made this one so special. You know, what's the difference? What's that touch that makes it different from the other ones that have been organized? And why is it that there was no collaboration? You could have collaborated with all the other ones who did the same thing.
Yeah, for us, our march past is centered on human rights. Yeah, we want to remind people about human. Maybe some other groups also, they have a particular issues that they want to share. But for us, our main purpose is to talk about human rights and then its importance, and then how peace is also important towards achieving these fundamental human rights. So we will see to is that, as I said earlier, we invited some media houses where we were able to also use that instruments to send our messages to the entire Gambian people.
Okay. So apart from this, what else does Amnesty International KM Group, you know, get into? I know this is about elections, it's coming up and all of that, but now let's look beyond. What else has this particular group been doing?
Apart from these elections, we also engage into creating awareness because Amnesty is an organization, non-international organization that is formed purposely to create awareness, not only awareness, but also to protect the fundamental human rights of the citizens. Not only the citizens, but also reminding the government it's responsible on enhancing this particular human rights abuses, and political parties as well. This is one thing we do. We also investigate problems, human rights violations, and that young children that have engaged, that their rights have been violated. We try to help them by investigating the matters and then bring it forward to prosecution if necessary.
I've also seen Amnesty International in different schools. You know, is this working on that as well in partnership? Is it the same thing, the Amnesty International sub organizations in schools?
Definitely. That is meant to, just because we believe that it started from the grassroots level, from the students. When students understand what is their fundamental human right, it will be very easy at the upper hand.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
so
why
so it's the same Amnesty International KM group that is facilitating the Amnesty International groups in schools?
Definitely.
It's the same. It's the same one.
It's the same one.
Okay, amazing. So yeah, like I asked Fatou Jawo and Honorable Omar Nyang, you know, when you're going on December 4th to vote, what are you going with? What should you wear? What should you take?
Yes, how to call it? Militants or supporters of political parties will avoid wearing T-shirts because that T-shirt is not meant, that day is not meant. In fact, that's why we have secret voting. When you are voting, people don't need to know where exactly you belong to, because that will at least help us to avoid, you know, that particular conflict that may happen. So people are not expected to wear any T-shirt. When you are going to the pool, just have an intention that you are going to exercise your fundamental human right, and any other person also have that particular right of exercising his fundamental human right. So that respect will be there, and that diversity will be also accepted on that particular day. We all people to go and vote and then go back to their home and wait for the IEC, the referee, to declare who is the particular winner of that particular elections. Okay. That is the message.
So is this advocacy going to continue, you know, after the elections? Now that this is before elections, you've already done a peaceful march. So after elections also, because normally this post-election conflict, it gets to grow. It can happen after 3 months, it can happen after a year, you know, so is the advocacy going to continue?
Yes, it's going to continue.
In what form?
Our intention is to make it before and after election, to continue reminding people about the value of peace. You know, post-elections, people need to know again. We need to come back to the people to remind them again their roles as citizens, what they have played during the elections. And then not only that, we will continue we have other programs in our agenda that we want to fulfill. By also having community outreach, going to the community to discuss them, because most of the people have a misconception of what human right is. So we want to make sure that they understand what is the perception of human right.
Okay, so what is their perception of human right?
Definitely, people have a notion that human right is all about maybe tubabu cool, maybe affaire tubabu la. But human right is basically for it's for their interest, it's for their own, because like we are against of torture, we are against people, we are against violence and other stuff that is meted on people. So basically that is for their own interest, and then we want them to understand, because most of the people, what they believe is, whenever they hear human rights, they say this is li affaire tubabla or dimu tubabu quality. You understand? So we want to make them that, we want to change that particular perception, making them this human right is for them, it's for their own benefit. It's going to protect them from any form of inhuman, treatment against them.
Okay, so thank you so much for coming on the program. I was just teasing you that my grandfather's name was Seth. So I'm sharing a platform with my granddad today. Thank you so much for coming. I am happy about the fact that you're planning to actually take this after the elections, because post-election conflict also exists, and this can happen at any point in time after the elections. So thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you for
and I saw what young people who attended the march past also had to say, which is quite good. The future is bright, and it seems young people really choose peace. Would rather get peace than get to suffer violences and all of that, which is also a good thing. That is what we need as a country, underdeveloped, and I'm trying to get somewhere. So we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll get to wrap this up. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Welcome back, viewers, from that short break. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV Youth Dialogue. I'm afraid that is all we have for you in this edition of the program. Like I said, we're saying a special thank you to all of the people out there who were continuously watching this particular program, despite the fact that for the past weeks the program has been repeating. But still, I've been getting feedback on programs that already aired, and it seemed amazing to all of you still. So, we're so happy about the commitment and the fact that you still love what we do. And we are back again. We are back for good, working towards bringing you amazing content every single week. So like I promised, eventually after the elections, we will get to talk about the Glasgow Climate Pact with young people. It's important that we get to share our experiences. And just as young people, the kind of environment, the kind of climate we're looking forward to as young people, it's important. So don't forget to connect with QTV on our different social media platforms to stay connected with what QTV has to offer. Currently, Youth Dialogue doesn't have a sponsor. Special thanks to Action 8 for joining our team previously. But for now, we're calling on sponsors to come on board to support the safe space for young people in this country. Like Fadjal mentioned, it is our platform. It's the young people's platform. It's a platform that young people use to hold government accountable, just to make sure that they get to see the change that they want to see and put across some of the things that they want to put across. So till I come your way next week with all the amazing young people talking about youth development. Bye for now.